this point, I have already shown you how to do these questions. Some of you will have developed your own methods. I don't want to poison your methods by making you think that the way you got an answer is wrong. Do you understand? So those are the right answers. Does anybody need either of them explained? What I mean by that is if you don't have 150 and 216, then you need to put your hand up right now. If you don't have it because you tried it, if you don't have that because you showed no work and just guessed, don't waste my time. Which one do you need to see, Isabel?
A.
A. All right. Well,
I got it wrong. Oh no, I'm on the wrong page. Sorry.
we're on page 30. Satcho. B. What is that shape? How many of them are there? 2. Triangle is base times height divided by 2 times 2, correct? The 2's go away. So base times height covers the front and the back, doesn't it? What's the base of that triangle? What's the height? So 48 covers the front and back, correct? All right. What is that shape at the back? It's a rectangle. What's the length? What's the width? So that back one is 42, correct? What is this down here? No, it's 8 and 7. It's another rectangle. But that's 56, right? Okay, so the only thing left is this guy, which is 7 by this distance. How do you find that distance? This was 90 degrees. So that's 636 and 64 is 100. Square root, that's 10. So that's 70. And what do? Add them up. There are the next two. Anybody want to ask about either of them? Both. All right, well, this one you have a formula for. 2WH plus HL plus LW. Who decides which is L, H, and W? You. There's W, there's L, there's H. Then you just put it in. 2WH. On mine, it's 3 times 4, right? Plus HL. On mine, that's 12 times 4. Plus LW. 3 times 12. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 times 4 is 48. 3 times 12 is 36. That is 96. Times 2 is 192. Everybody good? Now, there are a ton of ways to do D. Most of you probably did one of these things. Most of you remembered grade 9, probably cut that in half, called this prism 1, this prism 2, and did the surface area of prism 1 plus the surface area of prism 2 and subtracted 2 overlaps. That's what most of you probably did because that's what most of your grade 9 teachers probably taught you. I hate that. I don't do that. What I do is this. And again, this is why I don't like showing work until this point. Pretend that upper one isn't even there. That's what I have, right? That is just the same as this, except that's a 4 instead of a 3, right? So I would do this using 4, 12, and 4, right? Then I look and I say to myself, self, when I did this over here, that covered this whole roof, didn't it? Right? And it covered that side, and it covered all this, correct? What's the only thing not covered? Those 4, right? Are they all the same? So what I would do there is I would do this for the purple plus 4 of these, which are 4 by 4.
So it's like the roof of it is just elevated?
Yep. It's just coming out of the top. So there is new surface there. And there's 4 of them. Does everybody understand? The other thing that you were allowed to do, of course, was break it into tiny, tiny pieces and just add them all up. I can't tell you the way to do it. I can only give you a couple of ways to do it. I do that way I showed you because it's the shortest amount of work. It's one set of calculations plus that times 4. Everybody cool? All right. Now, these two have no formulas, do they? Because they're weird shapes. So you actually have to count and figure it out. The way I like to do this is piece by piece. How many of those pink sides are there? How many of these are there? 2. Oh, pink and pink. That doesn't look very good. 2. Yes? How many of those yellow sides are there? 1. How many of these blue sides are there? 2. Right? Now, how many purple are there? 1. How many of this one on the back down here are there? 1. And how many of these green triangles are there? 2. So all I do is find everything I can see and multiply it by what I need. This guy is 8 by 3. There's 2 of them. This guy is 8 by 3. There's 2 of them. This guy is 3 by 3. There's 1 of them. This guy is 3 by 4. There's 1 of them. This back guy is 3. This is 5 because of Pythagoras. So that is 3 by 5. And this triangle is 4 by 3 divided by 2 times 2. So it's just 4 by 3. Then you add it all up. Everybody good? Same thing over here. How many of those are there? 2. 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 And how many under there? 1. Find all your faces and add them up. Rectangle, rectangle, rectangle. Add it times 2. Add 8 times 15. Triangle. Since this is 90 degrees, these are both 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Divided by 2 is 12 and a half. Times 2, because there's 2 of them, is back to 25. Hell yeah.
Are you sure that there's a 386?
I'm 99% sure.
I got 387.
Well, let's check. That green guy is 8 by 3, right? Times 2. So that's 48. This yellow guy is 15 times 2, which is 30. Times 2 is 60. Agreed?
Wait,
15 by 2.
2 by 8? Not 3.
Where?
You said
8 by 3. Oh, yes, thank you. It's 8 by 2. So that is 32. This up here is 5 by 15, which is 75 times 2 is 150.
yeah.
The bottom is 8 by 15, which is 80 and 40, 120, right? And then we just did these triangles to be 25. 2 and 5, yep, looks like 7 to me. 387. Of course not. Now this one, again, some of you might have split it that way, found the overlaps. Some of you may have split it that way, found the overlaps. What I like to do, what I like to do is this. I find the whole thing, right? And then the only thing missing is that rectangle, which is 2 by 11. And how many times is that rectangle missing? twice. So I find the whole thing and I subtract 44 to cover those two rectangles. That's the way I like to do it. Pardon?
Isn't it missing 3 times?
Nope, it's missing. If I draw it properly, this is what's missing, this is what's missing. Because this roof is right here, right? And this edge is right here. So the only thing missing is that rectangle right there. And it's missing twice. Once at the front, once at the back. And oh, no, that's not it. Surface area of a cylinder, there's the two ways to find it. One of you, if you've done it right, you of course have one of those two answers. And then the actual most difficult, complicated question. This is a test question. I could give this question as the only question on both conversions and surface area on a test, couldn't I? Because you have to do conversions here. Because the paint, gallon, feet. The room measured in meters. So you had to either convert meters to feet and then figure out square feet, or convert 300 square feet to meters and work that way. Either way, you get an answer of 2.02 gallons of paint. Can you buy 0.02 of a gallon? So that's why you had to buy 3. Now I'm assuming some of you would like to see this. Yeah. All right. Okay. That's what a room looks like, yes? We are not painting the ceiling, are we? So, this wall is 5.3, because it's the longer wall. This wall is 4.1, yes? The height is 3, right? So this wall right here is 3 by 4.1 meters, correct? How many walls are there? 2. Times 2. This is 2 by 5.3 by 4.1, correct? That, when you do that math, gets you 56.4 meters squared. Everybody with me? Now, we're in trouble, though, because the paint is in feet squared, isn't it? 1 foot times 1 foot, right? That's a square foot, agreed? I need it in meters squared. How long is a foot as a meter? 0.3048. How long is this foot as a meter? 0.3048. What is this area as a square meter? 0.3048 times 0.3048. Right? So 1 square foot is actually, and I talked about this a lot, if you're converting squared measurements, you have to convert how many times? Twice for both dimensions. So 0.3048 squared. 1 foot is 0.0929 meters. 1 foot is that, but 1 foot squared is 0.0929. Now my 1 gallon of paint will cover 300 of those. So what do I do with this and 300? Multiply. And I get something like 27.3 meters squared. That's how much my 1 can of paint will cover. I need to cover 56 meters. So what do I do with these two numbers? Minus? Divide. And that will get you something like 2.02, and then you have to buy a 3rd gallon. Now, what if you didn't want to do it that way? Then you would convert this 3 and this 4.1 and this 5.3 to feet. And then you do length times width in feet. And then you would divide that answer by 300. Pardon me? 66 pi or 207. Is everybody good?
I think, what if you're, like, do we have to include all the decimals on all of these? I think that's why I got, like, every time, like, 1 off, I got, like, 67. So probably
No, 67 pi would be wrong. Because this is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh. Right, Nathan? Well, the radius is 3, yeah? 3 squared is 9 times 2 is 36 pi. 18 pi, right? 2 times r is 2 times r was 3, that's 6, right? Times h is 8, 6 times 8 is 48, 48 pi. 18 pies and 48 pies is 66 pies. That's why I don't like using decimals for these. That's why I like leaving it as pi. I think so. Jacqueline. Number 2 where? Oh, the paint. Why did we divide? Well, because we needed to paint 56 square meters, right? The 1 gallon of paint only covered 27 meters. Everybody good? This is a big problem because, again, this tells me who is actually thinking about math, right? Because this conversion, everybody knows it's on your sheet. You also know that area is 1 times 1, length times width. So you need to be aware that this is the same 0.3048, right? This is understanding, right? 1 foot to 0.3048 meters, that's enough bananas and enough time. I can teach a monkey to do that. A monkey will not figure this out. Do you understand? I am not calling you monkeys. Some of you are going to go home right now and say, Mr. Myers thinks we're as dumb as monkeys. I am not. I am saying that you have all the tools to make these connections. You need to start making some of these connections. The math world is very big and broad. If you think I can teach all of it to you without you making some connections on your own, that is impossible. Everybody with me? All right. It is 9:18. Do you want to see some answers from the next page? Everybody has the first couple done, right? No, I told you to skip that basketball question. We'll come back to that later. And we all did the golf ball question. So this was surface area of that, 2bs plus b squared. What's the b there? 6. What's the s there? 8. 2 times 6 times 8 plus 6 squared. That is 96 plus 36 is 132 meters squared. Just using the formula. Cone, pi r squared plus pi r slant. Do you have a slant? No. But you knew the radius was 15, and you knew the height was 25, so you needed the slant, yes? Which is the square root of 25 squared plus 15 squared, which is 850. Right? Then you square root 850. Now, if you square rooted 850, you got somewhere in the neighborhood of 27. 29? Okay, thank you. This was 29 point, who cares? 15? Okay, so now you have your slant. So now you can go to here and put in your slant and get the right answer, which is 225 pi plus 15 times 29.15 times pi. Then you would add it up. It's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 times 30 is 450. It's going to be somewhere around 675 pi, which is going to be somewhere around 2,100. 661. What did I do wrong there then? Oh, yeah, 661 pi times, yes, okay. So it'll be around 2,000. But 661 point blah pi. Okay? Yes. By doing Pythagoras. Square of 25 is 625. Square of 15 is 225. Add them together is 850. And at the end of Pythagoras, you always square root. Next one. 4 pi r squared. I gave you the r. 4 pi times 25 squared, which is 4 pi times 625, which is 2,500 pi, or something like 7,900 and something.
Yeah.
Okay. You will notice that I always leave in pi if I can, because I can do it in my head. Do we need to do these two? Are people done at least these two?
Can you figure out the last one, the very end one afterwards?
Very end one.
Like the last one that we're gonna do, the one with the top.
The silo?
Yeah, that one. The cone. I want to know what the cone.
Yeah, well, we'll see if we can get to it, Jacqueline. Volume of every pyramid is area of base times the height divided by 3. I gave you the area of the base. It was 13. I gave you the height. It was 9 divided by 3. 13 times 9 divided by 3 is 39. What is different about B? I didn't give you the base area. I gave you the base. So that is, area of the base is 4 by 4. How big is that? 16. What's the height?
15.
So I do 16 times 15, and then because it's a pyramid, I divide by 3, which is 80. Right? Everybody good? 80. 16 times 15 divided by 3.
Pyramid.
Triangle pyramid.
Yeah.
The area of the base is 13 centimeters squared.
Yeah.
The height is 9. 13 times 9 divided by 3. You typed in 13 times 9 divided by 3 equals. Volume of a sphere, 4 pi r cubed divided by 3. 4 pi times 18 cubed divided by 3. 18 cubed is an incredibly large number. It's 324 times 18, which is something like 5,088. 5,832 times 4 divided by 3. And you get 7,776 pi, or something in the neighborhood of 25,000. Is 24,000 in the neighborhood of 25,000, Rylan? So you're right. A cone with a radius and a height. Cone is a pyramid, yes? So it's area of base times the height divided by 3. Pi r squared h divided by 3. Pi times 25 squared times 12 divided by 3, which is 625 pi times 12 divided by 3, which is 2,500 pi. Or, I can't remember. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 7,000. I was going to say 7,700, but 7,800. Okay? Everybody good? Do I do this one?
Yes.
Okay, we have enough time. Surface area. That is the surface area of a prism, right? Right? Plus, what is this? It's just the sides of a cylinder, right? So I am adding the sides of a cylinder, which if you look on your formula sheet, I actually give you. But are those there? No. I got to subtract 2 circles. Then I just fill it in. Surface area of prism 2, WH, HL, LW. Where do I get the WH, HL, and LW? From right here. Who names them? You do. If I make that W, that H, and that L, I just fill it in. Plus, the sides of a cylinder is 2 pi r h. Do you know the R? Half of 15 at 7.5, right? 2 pi 7.5. And what's the h of this cylinder? 30. Minus 2 circles. 2 pi r squared, which is 7.5 squared. And then you do the subtraction. It's something in the neighborhood of 9,400 minus 337.5 pi, which is 9,400 minus 1,200. It's about 8,200. About. Okay. Again, I do not work in decimals in my head when I'm showing you, because this I can do in my head. Huh? 79,000?
No.
7,900? That's probably pretty close, because I said 8,200. Yes. As long as you show me work. Volume is way easier, because that's the volume of a prism minus the volume of a cylinder. Volume of a prism is 30 times 40 times 50, which is 60,000, minus the volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h, which is 7.5 squared times 30 times h, which I cannot do in my head. 7.5 squared is 56.25 times 30 is 1,500 and something. So this would be about 58,000. Pi times 3. This would be about 54,000. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
I did it differently.
Did you get the right answer?
No.
Well, then you better check what you did. Keep talking.
The volume of a prism is like the base times the height, right? So
Base area times the height. So
yeah, I
50.
did the base area, and I took off the area of the circumference and did times the height.
Okay.
And did
You,
that, right?
yeah, you would have.
Well,
Then you made an error in your calculation. Do we need to do this one? We do not have time. So Monday, we will see the right answers to 37 and 38. You will have more work to do. There is nothing new. Monday is the last bit of practice. Tuesday, by the end of Tuesday, we are going to be marking the review. I lied. Yes, by the end of Tuesday, we're going to be marking your review. Your test on surface area and conversions is Wednesday. I do not want you going away for a 5-day weekend before we write this test. You will not remember anything. Satcho. Yep. You get your formula sheet on the test. If you've written all over it and cheated, that's fine. You get to use it. No. What is this 15?
15 is the width.
Yeah, if that's the base and you're multiplying by the height, this isn't there. Right? The shape of this is this. Right?
Yeah.
And then it repeats this way, right?
Oh no, I know the base.
So that's the base. Yes, and that's the height. Go fix it.
So you times it 15 times 1.
No. You need to find this area, which is a rectangle plus a triangle. Have good days. Have good weekends. What?
Is the quiz on Wednesday or
No, we'll have the quiz on Monday or Tuesday. The test will be Wednesday. Your job.
Would I be allowed this formula sheet?
No.
So what?
You can use the sheet I gave you. That is it. If you write extra on it, that's up to you. On your final, you will not get the thing you wrote on, so you have to know it anyway.
Write down the sheet.